Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. I'm Aisha, your host. The most interesting aspect of learning about the lives of the Prophet is realizing how many valuable lessons you and I can take away and apply in our daily lives, despite the prophets having come and gone thousands of years ago. Today, let's explore the life of Prophet Moses, his birth, his prophetic mission, and his struggle to keep his people on the right path. Joining me to explore the life of Prophet Moses is Dr. Shabir Ali. Welcome to the show, Dr. Shabir.
Pleasure to be on.
So who is Moses?
Oh, Moses is one of the great messengers of God. In the Islamic tradition, it is mentioned that there are 5 persons who are the ulul azm min al-rusul, the messengers of great determination, and Moses is one of them. Of course, Moses is known from the Bible as one of the great prophets of God. It is to him that it is said that the Torah was attributed. Also, within the Torah, it is shown that God wrote 10 commandments on 2 stone tablets and gave them to Moses. And he led the people of Israel to their freedom. So there's a lot about Moses in the Old Testament, and the rest of the Old Testament all harkens back to Moses and the law that God revealed through him. The New Testament has Jesus being presented as though he's the new Moses. Moses received the law of God on a mountain and delivered it to the people from the mountain. Jesus is there on a mountain, and he is delivering new instructions and giving a new spirit to the law of Moses. And then some Christians, it is shown in the Bible, think that Jesus is a prophet like Moses. And now we have in the Quran the presentation of Moses, and he is the prophet mentioned more than any other prophet. It's mentioned throughout the Quran again and again.
So can you tell us a little bit about the story of his birth and how that happened?
Yeah, he was born at a time when the Pharaoh of Egypt wanted the Israelite male babies dead. Somehow he got a hint that one of the Israelite babies will grow up to eventually overthrow him. So he wanted to stave off that possibility by killing off the male children. Moses' mother was inspired by God, according to the Quran, to place the baby on a floating vessel and put him on the Nile River, which she did. And this is how this baby was saved from being killed.
So what happened when she put him in the Nile and then Pharaoh took him and then they raised him, or? Yes,
raised him as a child of the palace, and he grew up now to become a man, and he went into the city and he saw that there was a struggle between 2 people, one being a Hebrew and the other the Egyptian. The Egyptians are now the oppressors of the Hebrews. Moses comes to the rescue of the Hebrew person. He strikes the Egyptian, and he must have had a very heavy fist because the Egyptian was killed by this strike. And then Moses, according to the Quran, realized that he shouldn't have done this. He attributed this action to the inspiration of the devil. Now he was apprehensive because he was now in a position where he, being on the Egyptian side, has killed a fellow Egyptian. His own life could have been in danger here. Well, before anything could be made of this, he went into the city the next day, and the same man whom he rescued the previous day was calling for his help again in a similar struggle. And this time he knew better than to intervene, but before more could be said or done, somebody began to alert him that there is an edict out for his arrest because it's now known that he killed a man the previous day. So the way forward for Moses was to escape from the situation of conflict, so he left and journeyed to a place called Madyan, or Midian, where the prophet Jethro was residing.
So what happened? What did he do once he fled?
Well, he obviously fled to take on a new life and to escape that situation of violence. When he arrived there at Madyan, he found that people were thronging at a well because they wanted to water their flocks. There were two girls also with their flocks, and they had to wait aside given the customs and traditions of that culture. And they had to wait until the men had watered their flocks and left. So Moses saw the situation, and he assisted them to get their flocks watered. And they left, but he remained taking shade under a tree, resigning himself to God and praying and saying, God, I am in need of whatever favor you will bestow upon me. Well, apparently in answer to this prayer, the favor that God will bestow upon him is that he will get married. One of the girls came back, walking shyly, the Quran says, and said to him that my father wants to see you because he wants to reward you for the fact that you have helped us. So he went, and the father said, I would like to marry one of these girls to you. He had two daughters. On condition that you work for me for either 8 or 10 years, whichever of these two periods you fulfill, that will be up to you. And so they entered into this agreement. Moses worked for him and then eventually got married to one of the girls.
Can you tell us a little bit about the burning bush very briefly, and then we'll continue our conversation?
Yes, the Bible names this girl as Zipporah, who was married to Moses. So Moses is now traveling with his family, and he sees this light. According to the Bible, he looks at this bush, and the bush is on fire, but the bush itself is not burning. So there's somehow it's like engulfed in this amazing flame that's giving off light but not burning. So the Quran says in the 20th chapter that Moses sees this fire, and he says, let me go up to this fire. Perhaps I will come back with a torch from my family, or at least we'll get some heat from it. So this now, it takes him up to the fire. He approaches there, and this is where he will get a revelation from the Almighty God.
We'll continue this conversation next week. Thank you, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.